Hi, Phanessa here. In this video, I am going to demonstrate how to knit a basic double brimmed beanie. So this is the brim and it's double layered. And to do that, you want to start with a provisional cast on and then work your number of rows until you're happy with the size. Make sure you double that. So this is about 3 inches. So I knit 6 inches and then I attached it. So let's get started. So you'll need some scrap yarn and the yarn that you'll work with for the beanie, a crochet hook, and a stitch marker for the provisional cast on. And you'll want a stitch marker for knitting in the round. This is one of my DIY stitch markers. I'll leave a link for that if you're interested in making your own. You'll need a tapestry needle and a pair of scissors. For the needles, I'm using a 16-inch US 9. This is 5.5 millimeters. So you want to start with a provisional cast on. Go ahead and make a slip knot. Holding your tail end, wrap your yarn around your fingers over the tail and then insert your hook into the loop to grab your working yarn and then go ahead and tighten it. Leave some space. You don't want it too tight because you're going to pull loops through that very first loop. Okay, now you want to grab your needles. So you want to place your needle next to your hook with the working yarn under it, and then you're going to go over the hook with your crochet hook and then grab the working yarn and pull it through the loop on your hook. And you want to make sure that your working yarn is behind your needle again. Okay, again we're going to take the crochet hook, go over your needle, grab the working yarn and pull it through the loop on your hook. Place the working yarn behind your needle and repeat. Okay, so I have 3 loops there. And you're going to cast on 78 stitches. So I have 5. I'm going to continue this for 78 stitches. Okay, I have 78 stitches. I'm going to place a stitch marker. I'm using one of these so that I can secure it and not lose my loop there. I'm just going to cut my scrap yarn. So we started here. This is where your slip knot is, and then we cast on with the crochet hook and ended here where the stitch marker is. So starting from the beginning, you want to grab the yarn that you're going to make your beanie with. So we're just going to knit 1 row starting on the tail end. So grab your yarn, insert your needle into the first stitch here, place your yarn on your needle and knit. Now I'm just going to knit 1 row of the main yarn that I'm going to use for the beanie. I haven't joined yet. I'm not going to join until after this first row. Okay, I have 2 more stitches left. Alright, now you want to lay your work down and we're going to join and start knitting in the round. So first thing is make sure that Your stitches are not twisted. So we don't have any twisted stitches. So I like to join with the invisible joining method, which requires you to have one additional stitch. So I'm going to cast on one more stitch, and you don't have to do this part. So grab your working yarn, make a little loop, make sure that the working yarn from the ball is in front of the other strand, and then place it on your needle and tug on the working yarn to tighten it. Okay, stitch. So what we're going to do is grab the stitch from this side. You want to grab it purlwise, and then you're going to grab the second stitch on this side and pass it over that first stitch that you just moved over and drop it. Now you can place the stitch marker on, and we are back to 78 stitches. Okay, so from this point you can work 1 by 1 rib, since you have an even number of stitches, or however you want. But for this tutorial and the beanie that I made, it's just a simple stockinette stitch beanie. So I'm just going to knit every stitch. So you want to keep knitting in the round in stockinette stitches, or whatever you choose, until you have the desired size times 2. So I'm making a 3-inch band. I'm going to have to knit until my piece measures 6 inches, so that you can fold it in half and attach the bottom to the middle of your beanie. Okay, so I have the brim width that I want. This is double the size because we're going to fold it. So you want to grab another pair of circular needles. It can be longer than 16-inch, the same size needle, or I recommend going down, not up. We're going to place these stitches that we have here from the provisional cast on. We're going to place those stitches onto this needle. Okay, so this was my stitch marker. I'm going to pull that out. I'm going to undo this right here. And then you want to grab your other circular needle. So you can see the tail runs right through this loop here. So I'm going to insert my needle through there. And then just pull this out of that loop. Okay, so the next one is, you may have to tug on it a little bit, is right here. Just follow your scrap yarn. So enter it from the bottom up. And then you just keep unraveling it. The next one is right here. I'm just following where the scrap yarn is. And here's the next one. Next one here. So I'm going to continue placing the loose stitches onto my circular needle all the way around. Okay, so I'm near the end. Okay, so this is what I'm working with. This is just a placeholder. So you're going to fold this on the inside. So if you wanted to skip placing the stitches onto another circular needle, you can just flip it up and then knit it together in the same manner and pulling out the scrap yarn. I just find that this is much easier. So let's ignore that needle there. So you're going to place the two needles together, and then we're going to work a 3 needle bind off. I'm going to place my marker back on there. So now you're going to insert your needle as if to knit on the first needle here, and then through the next needle as if to knit. So essentially you're knitting the 2 stitches together. Okay, knit, pull it through that one and pull it through this one. Okay, so now we've seamed these 2 together. We're going to work into the next stitch in the front needle and the back needle and knit. So that's what you're going to repeat all the way around. First needle, second needle. Okay, so just work your 3 needle bind off all the way around. Okay, so we're now knitting these 2 pieces together. Okay, so I am on my last 3 stitches. So now we have attached the beginning to our main piece. So now it's double layered, and then you can continue on knitting. So now you're just going to continue knitting in the round until you're happy with the size of the beanie. So I made this one for my son, and it's about 10 inches. It has a small little slouch. So depending on the amount of slouch you want, just work it until 10 inches for a fitted adult. And if you want it slouchier, go about 1 to 2 inches taller, so about 12 inches. In the description box, there is a link to the blog post, which has for standard head sizing charting. So go check that out and just continue knitting until you're happy with your size. So I have one here that I am ready to close off. So you can decrease the top if you want, but this pattern, this specific one, does not have any decreases. So it's just going to cinch up on the top and look like that. So you want to cut a long enough tail and then thread your tapestry needle. And then you're just going to insert the needle through the stitches as if to knit and just pull them off the needle. I just do sections at a time. So I'm just going to repeat this all the way around. All right, this is my last stitch here. And then I'm just going to pull this tight. If you have yarn that breaks easily, just be careful when you're pulling on it. So I'm going to run it back through the hole in the middle, turn it inside out. So I'm just going to weave crossing through the center so that I can close up the hole. Okay, so that looks pretty good. I'm just going to tie it off. And then I'm just going to weave in the ends. So with this one, I had a wider brim. This one's is about that thick. All right, thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Don't forget to subscribe for future videos. I'll see you next time.